Hey everybody, Ed here with the Digital Digest, and today I wanted to share a quick update on my experience with the Asus Transformer Pad TF701. Now, one of the many improvements the 701 brings to the table is its brand new 2560 by 1600 resolution IPS display, basically giving you the same pixel density offered by all of the other top-tier competitors, whether we're talking about the Nexus 10, the Galaxy Note 10.1 2014, or even the iPad. Granted, the iPad does not match this pixel density. With that said, I can tell you right now, so far, the screen is fantastic. No dead pixels, very little backlight bleed, and as far as I can tell, color accuracy is very good. And that's part of the premise of sharing all of these different wallpapers right now, so that basically, after all, these are stock on there by Asus in order to show off the screen, and hopefully that's exactly what we're doing right here. Another thing I'm going to be looking at is included software in this update, because I think that Asus does a fairly good job. For those of you who don't like Samsung's TouchWiz, well, Asus offers a far more stock experience, aware that users just are looking for simplicity, but also some functionality. So they don't completely abandon you and give you something like a Nexus experience. Not that that's abandonment, but for the average user, a little bit of hand-holding as well as polish beyond the base experience is often desired, and Asus is well aware of that. But what you can see right here looks very stock. In fact, if I threw Nova Launcher onto the Galaxy Note 10.1 2014 edition, it would look just like this. So Asus definitely aware that the stock look is far more popular than their own piece of software overriding what many associate with Android doing best, which is being itself. So let's jump into our app drawer here, and you can see immediately we've got Kindle built in, the AO link, app backup, app locker, audio wizard, their browser, which of course is not Chrome. Chrome is also pre-installed. Calculator, your calendar, the camera, which I'll be demoing a little bit later, your clock, dictionary, downloads, email, Facebook, file manager, Flipboard. I mean, everything that you'd expect. The Google experience is there as well. They've customized all versus downloaded and frequent here, giving you a better customization in terms of getting to the applications that you use most often. This isn't anything groundbreaking, but it is something that should be pointed out. So widgets, of course, sorted from apps. Actually have to switch in between. You can't seamlessly go towards, rather into the widget section of the drawer. So that's something I just noticed right there. And of course, again, you have that categorized feel for ease of access, getting to what you use with the least amount of time wasted. If I jump back, you can see some of the things they instantly throw onto the desktop are the applications they expect you to use the most. So we've got, of course, Google Apps like any other tablet. And I did just, by the way, wipe this tablet yet again, for those of you wondering, because I tend to do that before every demo to give the most raw, true performance that you're going to get from the tablet, rather than something bogged down by running multiple applications in the background. Asus, they have their own applications, as mentioned before. The power saver feature isn't something I can really get into as of yet, but it is something that, of course, as I get into battery life, I will address whether or not it's actually, a tangible piece of software that really is effective. The audio wizard, this is yet another on-screen shortcut that they're giving you immediately so that you can switch in and out of different audio modes. So that's definitely another nice, cool added benefit there. Here we've got basic control of the actual screen. I mean, something that Asus is very aware of is that people who are after this sort of pixel density want to be able to tweak it, and they're giving you an included application to do just that, rather than having to go to a third party. Asus is smart enough to basically address the issue out of the box. Of course, my library for all ebooks. I mean, these are all things where Asus is really trying to do what every other tablet manufacturer does, and this isn't anything new. I mean, Asus is without a doubt one of the leading Android and tablet manufacturers, arguably, in the industry right now, and the Transformer is the reason for that success in large part. Of course, building out Nexus tablets for Google hasn't hurt them, but the fact remains that the Transformer is still an unmatched entity. There really aren't many other options when speaking or looking at other Android alternatives. Of course, you can turn to something like Windows 8.1 in the form of Surface Pro, Surface Pro 2, or even Windows 8.1 hybrids that are out, like the Asus Transformer TF100, but this is targeting a completely different market, someone that prefers this ecosystem clearly, doesn't necessarily have the budget to accommodate something like the Surface Pro or Pro 2, or even many of the higher-end, more high-end Windows 8.1 tablet hybrids. So basically, so far, I like what I see out of this tablet. As far as web browsing goes, things are very, very smooth. For those of you who are expecting performance like I've been showing off in the Samsung Galaxy Note 10.1 2014 edition, I think you will be pleasantly surprised, and that's because, quite frankly, the Tegra 4 is a beast. The Wi-Fi on board has performed exceedingly well. I'm not seeing quite the same strength that I do out of my Samsung Galaxy Note 10.1 2014, but it's negligible. Again, of course, Engadget with this pseudo mobile site that looks desktop, that you can't pinch to zoom, and is friendly for tablets and computers alike, or really tablets, of course, and phones I meant. But I'll take you to another website, something where we'll get desktop. I'm not even going to bother. I should stop using Engadget altogether for that reason. And we're getting the desktop version right out of the gate, which I like, something that most tablets don't do, and it's good to see that because we have more than enough power clearly to deal with this. No flash, of course. You can sideload flash. That's a given with any Android tablet these days. You might have to use another browser, of course, like Boat browser, but that's not a big deal. And in terms of actual loading speeds, didn't mean to touch headlines there, or my headlines I meant. Let's go ahead and just demonstrate how quickly, well, I'm not going to get playback, but you can see that things are loading up relatively quickly. If I go over to the NBA, performance is solid. There's no question about it. I mean, and I expected that because the Tegra 4 is just a great performer. Whether it's in the Shield that I've demoed, it just screams. Everything is really smooth. I could argue it yields one of the best Android experiences in the market, despite how it benches against competition. And that's in large part to do with the fact that NVIDIA has been a partner with Google from the start. The Zoom, as well as basically the entire Android tablet market for the first 2 years of its entire existence was based around NVIDIA architecture. So it pretty much is the reference for Android in a sense when it comes to performance and optimization. That's why gaming is also the best, for the most part, with the Tegra 4 amongst its other competing processors. I'll take you over to CNN. Stock keyboard here, relatively nice. Again, not a tremendous change from what I can tell, but more time with it, I'll certainly let you know. But you can just see things are smooth and they work as they should. I don't really want to play anything too depressing. A lot of things, well, quite frankly, in the world always often are depressing. But I'm looking for anything, well, as usual, not much to report. But the idea here is fairly simple. You're getting a solid package at a great price point. $450 is buying you 32 gigs of internal storage, which, by the way, one notification drop down here. You're not dealing with multiple, and quick access to just about everything that you could possibly need. I'm going to go ahead and jump into settings because I did want to show you, of course, where we're at, 4.2.2 out of the box. In terms of system updates, I'll check it again, but I didn't get anything out of the box. And again, nothing still. So clearly, often when we unbox brand new devices like this, there is a tablet, there is an update out of the box. In this case, with this TF701, no updates immediately, at least inside the first couple weeks of its launch so far. Or I should say with the build I have. I'm not sure that there haven't been any updates since it actually first started shipping, but as most of you know, we usually see updates when we get a product like this out of the box at the very start. Beyond that, Other things I wanted to show in terms of options, I don't see multiple users here. I do see users. Well, it appears that we can create. So multiple users, not if that was a question you had, it is there. Another thing I wanted to talk about was the actual internal memory, the 32 gigs of storage, that speed, because that was a big flaw in the TF700. That has been rectified here. From what I've been seeing, we're looking at literally a little over 3 times the performance of the internal memory on this device. So no bottleneck here. It looks like Asus has corrected that, and that was probably the biggest complaint about the TF700, other than the fact that I think people wanted to see a new processor, not just an overclocked Tegra 3. Another thing, storage. I mentioned there's a 64 gig version. I haven't seen it yet available, only the 32 gigs so far. I've also only seen it in one color. But you can see 24.76 gigs available out of the box of the total space of 25 and change. So for those of you curious how much available space is there, you have it right there. You now know. But again, really liking this tablet so far. Web browsing is solid. Video playback is good. Speaker performance also relatively solid. Again, for those of you that missed my unboxing, we've got a whole host of different ports here, from our standard headphone and microphone jack, micro HDMI out, micro SD card slot for storage expansion, our volume rocker right here on the left side of the tablet, more redesigns, the power button, rear 5 megapixel camera. This plastic tab across the entire top is where all of the radios are. We're talking about Wi-Fi, GPS, and again, all of those seem to be performing quite well, at least initially. I need more time to really put it through the paces. Build quality seems good. I like it. Still seems to have that metal spun finish despite rumors of it being all plastic. We've got a single speaker here. Output, again, as I mentioned, strong. Could it be better? Yeah, I think many people wish we had 2 front-firing speakers, but we don't. Pinhole right there, microphone, and then on the bottom of the device, our charging port, also the same port you'll use to connect to the optional keyboard dock, which is priced at $140 and gives you 4 more additional hours of battery life, in addition to the what I'm seeing based on my test right now is close to what looks like 10 hours rather than the 13 that Asus has been estimating, but I'll update on that. And you also get a full-size SD card slot and USB 3.0 port. So that really does change this from just a really high-powered, incredibly well-priced tablet for its specifications into a arguably viable, replacement for an Ultrabook or Netbook or even a laptop, depending on your actual needs. So it really comes down to what you're looking for. If Android is your operating system of choice and you want more productivity, you want incredible power, and budget is relevant, because again, $450 is less than any other 32 gigabyte top tier tablet out there, let alone that has the ability to transform into the closest thing that you'll get to a computer without going to a Windows 8.1 machine. So far, really liking just about everything about this tablet. Video playback, seamless, but the Tegra 3 didn't have problems, so I wasn't expecting problems with the Tegra 4. And again, this 2560 by 1600 resolution display is great. Camera performance, I have to work with a little bit more. I will show the camera app. I mentioned I was going to show it before, never got to it, because that's another thing that Asus has improved. You can see a little bit of hand holding, and this is what's good about Asus. They realize they need to do this. You can see they're telling you you've got touch focus capability here, long press to lock it, and then you've got the ability to use the volume keys to capture. And there you have it. They're asking if you want to, enable GPS for geotagging. And then this is pretty much the layout. I'm going to save the camera overview for another video, especially once I've spent a lot more time with it and can really give full impressions on whether or not I think it's a true upgrade rather than just a tremendous facelift. But already, it looks like this is going to be a winner, folks. Asus, one of the best in the business. The Transformer line is their bread and butter, top-tier tablet that really, again, gives you incredible performance at a incredibly low price point. So really like what I see here, and I think most of you will as well. If you can find it right now, this is probably the tablet to pick up, at least because of its price point performance ratio when compared to just about everything else on the market, especially if you desire that keyboard to turn it into a true almost computing replacement. So any questions or comments, please feel free to post them. And of course, as usual, please feel free to subscribe. Later.